may sit. Assalamu alaikum. Well, I'll start with a disclaimer. I'm not an academic. I'm not a theologian. I'm not a scholar. I am an activist, and I think that that's probably the best description that I can give myself. I'd like to thank ICNA for establishing a Council for Social Justice. It was time. You know, that's such a wonderful addition to the already, growing body of organizations in the United States that are trying to adjust and address social justice issues here in the United States. And I'm probably going to talk more specifically to our experience here in the United States as a Muslim woman. Now, I thank also Dr. Kavach for her presentation, general presentation on women in Islam. But I have to tell you that I think that we've reached a point now where we're about tired of talking about women in Islam. You know, we're just living that experience now. And when you see us doing all kinds of work in all kinds of settings, you understand that those are women in Islam. We did a film screening last night up in New York, a film titled Veiled Voices. And we thought that, you know, this is our annual Women's History Month event, and that this time we would show this film to university students for the most part, and then get their reaction to that and feedback from them. And I have to tell you, first of all, there were 3 women that were interviewed in this documentary, and neither one of them had a voice that was veiled. They were very outspoken, and especially so in the context of their environment in Syria, in Egypt, and Lebanon. Extremely outspoken. So we wondered, who's asking the question? I mean, are these our questions? Or are they coming from some other place and we feel the responsibility to answer those questions rather than posing our own questions? Yeah. So I think that's about where we are now, and I'd like to try and engage you from that point based on my own experiences. And I'll start with the big fat elephant in the room. Racism is not confined to Muslim majority countries or Africa or Europe. It's a universal experience. It has been forever. It continues to be right here at home. So it's something that we must deal with on a consistent basis, acknowledge that it exists, and work day and night to eradicate it. That's our reality. Now, what I do in my work as a social activist is that, especially after 9/11, I should tell you that my organization, Women in Islam, was founded in the early 90s, and we felt compelled to constitute ourselves around the issue of the rape atrocities in Bosnia during that war. And the reason that we felt compelled to do that is because everyone was speaking about those poor Muslim women, except Muslim women. See? So we felt, wow, well, you know, since the overwhelming majority of the women who were being impacted by these atrocities, that there needs to be Muslim women's voices on this issue. So we just got up and started to organize ourselves to speak for ourselves and on behalf of ourselves. And we were not always welcome in those settings where we were being discussed, and other people were developing ideas about how to come to our rescue, how to save us. And we're not really very much interested to hear how we might want to be saved or not be saved in some instances. See? So it begs the question again, who are our interlocutors? You know, who's bringing the question? You know, and is it our question? And do we feel a responsibility to answer it? And if so, how? Now, after 9/11, a lot of things happened, as we all know. And we are now dividing the world into pre-9/11 and post-9/11. So that we have now to deal with issues that have already been in our environment, in our society from its creation. Yeah? Now we have an opportunity to address those underpinnings again that have been there, that have not gone away, and now manifesting themselves again. And many people are wondering, I don't feel American anymore. I don't feel at home, or I'm so shocked that my civil liberties were just thrown out the window. That I'm put in detention and locked down, and my family is on Guantanamo Bay. And there's no recourse to the law, and even our lawyers are getting jailed. Yeah. So is it what happened? And the shock and dismay and disappointment in America. And we, the African American Muslim, has the opportunity, right, and the responsibility, I think, to encourage our community. That means human community, not just Muslims, not just African American Muslims, but the human society, and especially our American society, that these kind of attacks on the people are not new, that this is just another manifestation of that. And when we delve into the history of our country, and it's very important to know the history of the place where you call home, because without that history, you become really ripe fodder, for the cannon, as it were. So we take the initiative to speak about that history, as difficult as it may be, but at the same time, it's also very liberating to acknowledge who you are, where you've come from, what the benefits are, what the obstacles are. And when you identify the obstacles, it provides an incredible opportunity for progress, because you can acknowledge the wrong, you can work to right it, and you move on. Nobody's stuck in the mire of what happened before. But we do have to acknowledge that this is part of our history, and it repeats itself all too often because we are ignorant or in denial about what it is that we as people who claim, the liberties, the freedom, the justice, the equality for the world, often deny it to our people right here at home. So that's my message when I go out. And, Islam is this way of life that I embraced nearly 35 years ago, because I saw it as an opportunity to not only engage my spirit of struggle, but I also saw it as a way to have that spirit of struggle informed by my faith, right? So that I could not commit atrocities against people, even if they were doing bad things, right? I had to speak truth to power, even to people who were doing wrong things, but I had to hold them accountable for the wrong that they did, so that become a powerful vehicle to speak to social change, because then you can talk to people not only in your own faith group, but you can talk to people in other faith groups as well. And then you can extend your message beyond faith groups to other people who don't profess any religion, but they have a strong passion for social justice and equal rights. So that becomes a powerful mechanism to build coalitions with people who are like-minded, to redress wrongs, and to make our union a more perfect one. And I have to tell you that women in general are at the forefront of this struggle, quiet as it's kept, and certainly Muslim women are. Now let's just look at 9/11. What did we see on the screen, mainstream media? We saw women in hijab for the most part, you know, doing all kinds of things. A lot of them were afraid to wear the scarf, or they wouldn't go out of their houses, or they were keeping their children. These were the stories that we got, right? We didn't see the stories where non-Muslim women said, I didn't sign up for this, so guess what? I'm going to put on a scarf in solidarity with those women who are wearing scarves to say that I'm not Muslim, but I'm for what's right, right? So I stand with you on the right side of justice. That was a win situation out of tragedy. And it's not a well-known story, and we need to tell that story, right? We also need to tell the story that atrocities don't have anything to do with Islam, right? Extremism has nothing to do with Islam and Muslims, right? You know, we can talk about people who do extreme things, who are extremists, who are indeed terrorists, right? And they don't just reside in Muslim majority countries. I'm going to challenge the Muslim world, this terminology now. In fact, there are a few things on my mind I want to challenge. I want to challenge the Muslim world. What is the Muslim world? Are we considered part of the Muslim world here in New York, in the United States? You know, who are they? So we need to stop adopting language that's given to us and analyze that, and then go back and use the more appropriate language that suits the situation. What is an Islamist, for God's sake? I have no idea what that is. I really don't know what that is. What's a jihadist? I'm just amazed. And so when I hear Muslims regurgitating that language, it's really upsetting for me. You know, like, why do you adopt the language that's been designed to be oppressive, right? And it is not to deny that we have radicals, violent radicals, right? That we have extremists in our midst, right? But it is not the same equation to say that, you know, jihad is a very beautiful word, you know, if we understand what it is, right? Islamist is just something was made up to kind of, I think, pry us very gently from our practice, you know, so we can say, well, we're the moderate ones. We're not the ones who bomb buildings, but we're the good ones, you know. And the other ones who cover their heads, those ones who wear beards, those ones who go to the mosque, right? Those ones who don't go to the bar, you know, it's like those are the ones that you have to watch out for, right? Now, in New York, you've heard about the King hearings, right? He's just really clear. I mean, the whole community is suspect. You know, just, it's out there. And so it's our job to say, I'm sorry, you know, but this is America, isn't it? You told us that we had a constitution, you know, the Bill of Rights, right? And we remember the civil rights struggle, don't we? And if we don't remember it or don't know about it, we need to make sure we learn about it. We need to make sure our kids know about it. They may not learn it at Georgetown University, but it becomes our responsibility to make sure that they are exposed to an environment where they can get that knowledge, because it's the shoulders that we're all standing on now. So that becomes not only a family issue, it becomes a community issue, and at some level, it becomes a societal issue if we're really going to speak the truth so that we can eventually have a wholesome society. And I'm talking about all these different things that you may think have nothing to do with women in Islam, but I think they have everything to do with women in Islam, because it's the work that we do, and we are Muslim. You know, we are very clear about that. And we want people to know that we are Muslim. We want to be visible. We want people to come and ask us questions. Oops, I lost that mic. We want people to come and ask us questions, you know. Why is it that we dress this way? You know, why is our name that? You know, why do we do thus and so? Because it provides an incredible opportunity. It provides an incredible opportunity for us to engage our fellow human beings at a level that may not exist if we're just talking through sound bites. Can you hear me without this? Another thing that I found that when we speak about Islam, and especially Muslims in the West, my sister is absolutely correct, and I'm sure we're all aware of that, is that rarely are we talking about Muslims in the West. And even when we're talking about Muslims in general, in today's climate, there is a backdrop of the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, always. It's almost never a real conversation about Islam in the West, or even Islam in majority Muslim countries. So we have to challenge that. I mean, it's fine to talk about the Palestinian-Israeli conflict, but we have to name it what it is. Talk about that. It's fine to talk about Libya. It's fine to talk about Egypt, Iraq, Iran, Syria, you know, talk about those. But talk about it in the real context of what we mean behind, and not camouflage that with some conversation about Islam when we're really talking about something else that looks like control and domination, right? Now, we also have to, and I'm talking about these things because this is the work that we do, women do, yeah? I mean, it's not something outside of the realm of women's work. Yeah? When we talk about the revolution for democracy that's sweeping across the Muslim world, we have to ask what Muslim world, right? And why are we suddenly now concerned about protecting Muslim women? You know, I mean, is that a genuine concern? Or is there something else, you know? I mean, we the West, are always preoccupied for some reason with unclothing women, you know? And, you know, certainly Muslim women. So this becomes another tool in their tool chest, you know? Let's save the women from you know, all of this stuff that they have to deal with. And make no doubt about it, our critique is inside the Muslim community as well as outside the Muslim community. Inside the Muslim community, there are atrocities that we speak strongly to and against, and we equally speak strongly and against those atrocities, those abuses, those misuses of power outside the Muslim community as well. And we have both, and we have to deal with that. How much time do I have?
Well, we want to open it up for some questions.
Okay, I'll stop there. Thank you.